When an aircraft crosses an international border, it encounters a massive wall of bureaucratic drag. Moving a multi-million-dollar machine between sovereign nations involves customs, immigration, and health authorities, all of which naturally slow down operations. To mitigate this, the International Civil Aviation Organization established Annex 9. For candidates preparing for the DGCA Commercial Pilot License Air Regulations exam, understanding Annex 9 facilitation is mandatory. Before we break down the specific DGCA exam requirements, make sure to subscribe to the Pilot Arnav channel for dedicated, comprehensive aviation study material. The core objective of Annex 9 facilitation is straightforward: preventing unnecessary delays for aircraft, flight crews, passengers, and cargo during international transit. Mastering this framework requires learning the precise legal definitions and boundaries that keep global air traffic moving efficiently. Let's start on the operational tarmac. To clear an aircraft quickly, regulations strictly categorize every single physical item loaded onto the airframe. This flowchart defines cargo, which strictly excludes mail, onboard stores, and mishandled baggage. A separate branch covers commissary supplies, items for flight crew use, catering, and comfort. Lading is placing these on board. Unlading is their removal. Establishing this rigid taxonomy prevents local customs agents from arbitrarily holding up a flight by debating what legally constitutes commercial cargo versus basic crew supplies. Moving from the cargo hold to the passenger terminal, the movement of human beings is governed by an entirely different set of strict legal terms. Embarkation means boarding the aircraft to commence a flight journey. Disembarkation means leaving the aircraft upon landing, with a specific regulatory exception made for passengers on connecting flights. Those connecting passengers often fall under direct transit status. They remain in a designated area under the strict supervision of local authorities, without officially entering the contracting state. Contrast that with a deportee. This person entered a state legally or illegally, but is now restricted to leaving only under a formal legal order. An operator who misidentifies a passenger's legal status as a standard transit passenger faces immediate diplomatic friction and potential grounding of the aircraft. To maintain rapid movement for authorized personnel and passengers, Annex 9 standardizes the physical and digital documents required for identity verification. Flight crews utilize a crew member certificate, or CMC. If used purely for identification purposes, a contracting state must accept it without demanding an accompanying pilot's license or passport. For broader travel, the standard is the MRTD, the Machine-Readable Travel Document. As this Morphin graphic shows, it embeds a secure microchip holding the traveler's biometric data in an electronic database. Standardizing these documents removes the friction of manual, page-by-page border checks, allowing crew members to clear airport terminals at maximum speed. When an MRTD is presented at a border, the validation process happens entirely without human intervention. The document is scanned by an automated border control, or ABC system. Look at the data flow here. The local ABC scanner queries the ICAO Public Key Directory, the PKD. This global cryptographic directory validates the digital signature on the microchip, confirming via biometrics that the passenger is the rightful holder. Relying on cryptographic verification completely replaces the tedious process of manual passport stamping. Facilitation also places strict administrative limits on local authorities to prevent bureaucratic bloat. There's a strict paperwork cap. Authorities cannot demand more than 3 copies of any clearance document. Furthermore, they are explicitly prohibited from demanding a passenger manifest or onboard stores declaration, though they are fully permitted to ask for a cargo manifest. Restricting the volume and type of paperwork a state can demand acts as a legal shield, protecting operators from arbitrary delays. This grid details the 3 essential clearance documents. All 3 share the operator's name, registration, flight number, and date. The General Declaration adds flight routes, crew passenger counts, and health declarations. Passenger manifests detail embarkation, while cargo manifests track goods and lading points. Memorizing these specific fields is necessary because omitting a single required entry on a General Declaration will bring an international operation to a complete halt. Once the aircraft is on the ground, the final operational phase is navigating customs. Passenger clearance is streamlined into 2 channels: the green channel for those without dutiable goods, and the red channel for those carrying dutiable items. For air crews, the rules are rigid. They must declare currency, declare gold ornaments, and electronic goods upon arrival and departure. As this timeline illustrates, an aircraft itself is exempt from Indian custom duties only if it meets 4 specific conditions. It must be registered in a foreign state, brought in solely for flight purposes, not intended for local registration, and must depart within 6 months. These customs privileges are strictly conditional. The person in charge of the aircraft must make a written declaration to the customs collector. Failing to do so invalidates the exemption. The final elements of Annex 9 compliance rely on strict operational countdowns. Export goods must be presented to customs at least 4 hours before departure. Non-scheduled flights stopping for non-traffic purposes must notify the state via flight plan 2 hours ahead. Direct transit passengers lacking facilities may stay a maximum of 2 days. These precise timeframes establish the outer limits of facilitation. Missing them turns expedience into an immediate regulatory grounding. From the strict definitions of lading on the tarmac to the rigid countdowns of customs clearance, Annex 9 governs the entire operational life cycle of an international flight. It operates on a dual mandate, aggressively minimizing paperwork to maximize speed, while enforcing precise terminology to guarantee legal compliance. As you prepare for the DGCA exam, lock down these specific timelines and document fields, and make sure to subscribe to Pilot Arnav for more targeted CPL preparation videos. Mastering air regulations transforms technical requirements into real-world operational fluency, ensuring you, your crew, and your aircraft remain safely in the sky.